Hello and welcome to part 3 of a beginner's guide to working into a foundation chain. In this part we're going to be looking at creating a foundation chain and then working into the back loop only. This is my preferred way to work into a foundation chain because the top of your work ends up looking the same as your bottom. So it does give a super neat finish to your projects. However, it's also the trickiest way to work into a foundation chain. Having said that, you can do it with just a bit of practice. So grab your hook, grab your yarn, and let's get started. Let's begin. I start with the slip knot. How I do that is I have an open palm and I lay the yarn over it, hold it into place with my two lower fingers and secure it with my thumb. I wrap it around my top two fingers to form an X, continue wrapping it around and hold that into place with my little finger. I then make sure my hook is facing down. I go under the first string, over the second strand, and I pull that through. I continue to lift that up with the crochet hook while slowly releasing my fingers, pulling those two strands down. I can then pull the two strands apart and that will tighten my slip knot. So to begin doing a foundation chain, I'm going to put the yarn over my hook, bring that through the loop that was on my hook. So I've now done one chain. This is my slip knot. This doesn't count as anything, but this ring that you can see here is my first chain. And again, yarn over the hook, bring that through the loop that was on my crochet hook. Two chains now, 1, 2. Going to continue along like this, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over and pull that through. At the same time I'm creeping my thumb up one chain at a time to keep a consistent tension. Also trying to keep a consistent tension by making sure the yarn and my fingers is the same distance apart when I wrap it over, and kept with the same tension between my two fingers here. This will depend on how you choose to hold the yarn, as it's very different for everybody. Each time I pull the yarn through, I'm raising my hook just slightly so you can see a bit of the table between the yarn, the loop, the bottom of the chain, and my hook. Trying to make sure everything is consistent so that my work has a consistent tension, which leads to a neater and nicer finish. Just continuing to put the yarn over my hook and bringing that through the loop that's on my hook. Yarn over, bring that through the loop. Continuing to do that, creeping up with my thumb, trying to keep everything consistent. Going to stop here and count the chains that I've already made. So I'm after 20. This does not count, it's the slip knot at the start. What we're looking for is the first chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I've done 21 chains. I'm just going to take one off. I like an even number of 20. Okay, so to continue our work, we're going to turn our work around. So we were going in this direction. We now need to move it over to the other side. We're going to chain one more. This does not count as part of our work. This is simply a turning chain, and we use this to raise our hook and our yarn up so we're at the next level, we're ready to work across. For back loop only, what we are looking for, I'm going to turn my chain over just 90 degrees. We're looking for these ridges. You can see there's a raised bit of yarn, and that is the back loop. If I turn it all the way over, it actually is the middle part, this part of the chain here. That's our top loop, which is now on the bottom because I've turned it over, and that's our bottom loop. We're after this middle one, the back loop. Again, just turning that back 90 degrees, you can see it's the raised part of the chain. Okay, our first chain here that we just did does not count. That is our turning chain. So I'm going to turn it over slowly so you can see this is our first ridge, very first ridge, but that's of our turning chain, so that does not count. Instead, we want to go here into this next ridge. To do that, you need to go through here. So the easiest way to do this is turning your work over. We're going to go through here, all the way through, and we're going to pull that back one down, and we're going to be going through there. So all I've done is collected this middle ridge onto my hook. If I show you from this front, you can see that's the top and that's the bottom, top and the bottom of the chain, and I have the back loop on my crochet hook. Yarn goes over and I pull that through, and then I pull that through again. This is the first chain that I've worked into, and this is my turning chain, which does not count, and this is my first stitch. Single crochet into the back loop. Let's look at that again. So I'm just going to turn my work 90 degrees. That's the loop that I want to get on my hook. Got one strand on, so I'm in the right place. Pull that through again. And what it is doing is it's turning this chain, so you can see these are my 2 stitches that I've already done. It's turning that chain down. And I'll show you as we get along the benefits of that to making your work look really neat. Okay, so staying at that 90-degree turn, I'm going to continue on through that back loop. It's a little bit more fiddly doing a back loop only, but personally it's my favourite way of working into the foundation chain because it makes your work on both sides look the same. Very neat finish. Okay, continuing along. There's 2 ways of doing it. You can just try to go straight through that back loop and collect it like that. Sometimes that's a bit difficult. So another way to do it is to guide your hook straight down in between those 2 strands, and then use your thumb to pull that strand back over. So you're left with 1 on the hook. Okay, so again you might choose to go straight down, bring that through, and then pull that hook, that piece of yarn over your hook, so you're left with just the back loop on there. Again, I'm going to show you that from the front. You've got the top part of the chain, the bottom part of the chain, and that ridge, that back part is on your hook. Pull that through. As you begin to work, you'll see that your chain just stays automatically at that 90-degree angle. So here's where you can see that those raised parts, that's the back loop. That's the part you want to get on your hook. So again, working through. This method is definitely a bit more time consuming compared to the other ways of working into a foundation chain, but I really do believe it has the best finish. I'm going to continue picking up that back loop. Important things to do is to make sure your chain does not twist or that you suddenly pick up another part. I'm going to make some errors on purpose here just so you can see what it looks like. That's what the foundation chain is currently look like, being worked into with the back loop. You can see the bottom now looks the same as the top. Really neat finish. What I'm going to do is some errors so you can see how you can pick this up. So this is the next back loop that I should be going into, this raised ridge right here. Instead, I'm going to go in over here. Okay. If I do it right now, we should be able to see how we can pick up that error. So I've skipped one back ridge and I've gone into the back loop, and if we look, we can see from underneath our chain's beautiful along, and then suddenly it doesn't look right here. This no longer, this chain here, this stitch, sorry, no longer looks the same. We're missing the bottom part. I've gone into the wrong part. I need to undo it and start that part again. Just going into the ridge. Also going to show you what it looks like if you accidentally go into the same back loop twice. So here's my back loop. I've already done a stitch in there, but I'm going to do it twice. Whoa, you can see straight away that that's made it look really clustered. So you can tell that's an error. Undo that. Continue on. So I've just gone into this ridge, moving along to our next one. Making sure we always only have one strand on the top. If we are like this with two strands, we've got too many. We've got the bottom loop as well, so we need to take one off, and then we are fine to continue. I'm going to show you what happens if we skip one. So instead of working into my next back loop, I'm going to skip over that and move down here. And we can see there's a gap. Once you start working through your project and it starts to stretch out, you'll clearly see this gap here. It means we've missed one. So undoing that gently, coming back, making sure we pick up that skipped ridge. One thing you can also do that really helps you with working into the back loop of a foundation chain is to do your chain in a slightly bigger hook. I'm currently using a size 5, so if I went up a size to a 5.5 and did the foundation chain, that would make it looser and easier to work into. But given that it's already a size 5 hook, which is quite large, it's not too difficult. Okay. Continuing on, not too many left now. Make sure you don't twist your chain around. Should be able to keep that quite consistent. Checking the bottom, so that will show you if things are facing the right way. Now I'm checking as well to see how many more I need to do, and I can clearly see one more back loop here. Here's my next back loop here. This is my slip knot that started my work. I do not need to do anything with that. Moving into that back loop and that last one. If you start to get a bit confused, if your work is turning, just line up those bottom stitches, and I can see here is my back loop right there. I'm going to show you how to count your stitches now to make sure you've kept the right amount. Back at the start, this here is my turning chain. This does not count. I start with my first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And this is the loop that's on my hook. As you can see, the top of my work looks exactly the same as the bottom. And that's why working into the back loop is my favourite method of doing a foundation chain. I'm going to show you one last thing, and that's just how to turn your work and continue on. This is working with single crochets. So from here, again, I do a turning chain, which does not count. Turn my work around, and I'm going to go straight back into that same stitch. It's right here. This is my turning chain, this is my first stitch. In I go. Do a few stitches along. is how to work into a foundation chain into the back loop only. Hope you have found this tutorial helpful. I look forward to seeing you again.